Welcome back to day 141 of our chess journey to 1500 ELO on chess.com. Today, guys, I made a massive mistake as I recorded the video. I might have just started sharing my screen and then for the remainder of the game switched back to my face instead of the screen as well as my face. So, well, it's not ideal, especially because I can't really not show it as the rating has updated here. We won our game today and we got to 1500 ELO. So I'll be doing this slightly differently than I did because the result is already there. So I'll starting off today by talking about what's going to happen for the next couple of days before we go through the game. So today, guys, we got to 1500 ELO and we'll be going through the game shortly. But first, I'd like to tell you guys a little bit about what's going to happen in regards to the upcoming videos. Tomorrow, I'll be coming. I'll be coming with a video. There will be a video about our stats throughout this journey. We'll be going through chess.com insights and having a look at how we've done thus far. As for overmorrow in 2 days' time rather, I'll be sharing a video about a recent chess tournament I played on chess.com, which was a daily tournament with 1 day time per move. It is a bit different than what we've typically done, but it was still a fun experience and I'd like to share it with you guys before we in 3 days' time resume our journey in chess with a new journey called Journey to 2000 ELO, starting again from day 1. So then, guys, let's just jump ahead into today's game, which there is no way I just did it again, right? Yeah, I just recorded the game once again. Only recording my face, though. Oops. Let's do it correctly this time. And transition back to the screen so you guys can see the moves on the screen. We started off with a Slav defense. Let's just go over to the review here. I'm just dumbfounded. It's honestly incredibly funny here. Yeah, I didn't expect this to happen at all. We went here, which is typically how we play the Slav. Our opponent went here, which we've seen a million times, and here I thought, I know this is the best move, but I hate blocking our bishop in, so let's try and bring our opponent out of the comfort zone by coming out here, which was a slight inaccuracy. I did also discuss here that we could go here, which we should be looking into as an alternative if we do not want to play a3 in this position. Went out here though, the game proceeded as normal because our opponent did not take the pawn. So we went out here, pushed this pawn to prevent this from picking up the bishop here, potentially at least. At least that's what I thought, but I guess maybe this, and I guess this is playable, after which we would have had to trade off the bishop, but I wanted this powerful bishop here along this open diagonal, which was why I played this move here. Our opponent went here, we went up, inducing this move, this capture, and our opponent went for it, and now we had a pawn imbalance. Our opponent pushed b5, which I really loved to see because this pawn here seems to be quite weak. And we can utilize the c-file with our rooks here, I thought, to hit at this pawn. Went back here. I thought this looked good. Apparently coming back here was better. Keeping this knight in check, I guess because of ideas like this. After which the knight is in a slightly awkward position. This was played, we castled, our opponent castled, and we pushed a3 to get a clasp down here to prevent this pawn from being pushed up and traded off. Our opponent went to a6. We pushed here, once again, this idea. Got our bishop back to prevent this knight from capturing it. This was a mistake by our opponent. They spent a bit of time here, 1 minute almost, and came up with this. At this point I realized this move probably seeks to push this pawn to get rid of our pawn here, and then this clasp is not as powerful. I didn't identify this as being as bad as it in fact was. We went here, our opponent went here, and now, well, we could have went here, didn't. At this point I thought if we pushed this pawn, this just seems like an internal weakness. Our opponent's rooks can double up on the d-file to hit this pawn. The bishop is already looking down at it, and we can't push the pawn because of those pawns here. So I thought this seemed like a bizarre move. Went here instead, our opponent pushed, and here we missed an important idea. I thought, let's just trade off. I don't see a way of preventing it. However, as you can see by the green arrow, we had an interesting move of coming up here. Because as we can see in hindsight here, this bishop is essentially trapped. It can't go anywhere, and let's say our opponent plays here, we just take. And if this is played, now we can take here without losing a pawn. We would win a pawn instead even. Like this, and our opponent can't take. They could go here, I guess. But then we apparently kick the bishop, the knight out, and well, it's not that concrete here. I guess there are some difficulties, but this would have been much better than what transpired, which was this. Here I thought, let's force our opponent to take us, and instead move our rook here, which was a mistake. Because now our king gets exposed. Our opponent comes here to take advantage of our loose pieces. We went up here to prevent this pawn from being pushed up and traded off, because we wanted to win the pawn, which seemed to be a weakness here. This was a mistake. Can you guys see why? I missed an idea here, which it wasn't easy to spot, but it was a really cool move still. This was what our opponent played. Apparently this was better, which we did have a look at the first 2 times even. But me making the same mistake twice, I'm sitting here recording for a 3rd time in a row. Yeah, this was good, and I thought, okay, I don't see the danger here. If we take here, of course, we lose this bishop, so let's just take here and protect our rook. As you can see by this green arrow, though, this was not quite good still for us, because this was a check, which I had not realized. I thought if this was played, we could have just went back here and defended. No, we couldn't, because now we lose a pawn. Or well, we are down a pawn in total because of the initial capture by the knight down here. Went back here, which was not the best move. I thought I would like to prevent this from being played and picking up our pawn, because let's say in this position we go here. I didn't quite see how we were going to protect this pawn. Apparently it's not bad for us, but I thought, okay, this seems quite dangerous. 3 pawns against what's going to be 0. Don't quite like or want those odds. So instead, went here, kind of forgot our opponent could force the issue, and then we had to move the knight. However, there is poison here. Can you guys spot it? In this position, we laid a trap. If you guys think about what our opponent wants in this position, you might be able to find the move. Our opponent did in fact play. The move I'm talking about is picking up this pawn, as we discussed earlier on. This pawn seems impossible to defend, but now it's defended tactically, because as our opponent went here, we got a fork with our knight. Our opponent thought for a short while, and we got the bishop. It was essentially unavoidable. And this I think our opponent, despite being down a piece here, it's not easy to play, but they've got 3 pawns, 3 connected passed pawns here on the queen side. There is still a lot to play for. Our opponent tries to keep on to hold on to the pawn here. We add more pressure, and now this pawn essentially becomes undefendable. It can't be pushed because then it's just taken, and it can't be defended because, well, takes, and this looks quite bad here. You can see I've marked this up from the previous attempt here at reviewing the game. Those 2 pawns here, this structure does not look like anything our opponent would want to go for. But well, yeah, our opponent pushed this pawn, realized we could take it, and this still hangs, and they resigned. I think still a bit prematurely, but the position was indeed quite dire. I don't know why this says zeros on the side, as the knight jumps on over and captures. Might just be a bug on chess.com. Well, anyways, that's our game here for today. The video just got shorter for each time I recorded it. I see the recording sits here at 9 minutes, but this is just the second recording, I guess, after the initial 2 minutes, which I'll be editing in front, showing my introduction earlier on, leading up to my second mistake by, well, recording the video with my face instead of the screen. Whoops. So, well, I think I'd like to just thank you guys once again here for sticking with me throughout this journey. This has been a long one, 141 days, but our next journey, I think, is going to take a whole lot longer. And I want to take this opportunity here to... I haven't really gotten the... I don't feel like I've shown enough appreciation for how great of a community you guys have been thus far. Most content creators do not get as positive and wholesome of a comment section as you guys are, so I really have to thank you for that. It makes what I'm doing here a whole lot more enjoyable, and it creates a really nice atmosphere through which we can improve our chess and just help each other, which I've seen people do in the comments as well. So thanks a lot for that. It almost getting a bit emotional here, but it's really nice, and I appreciate it a whole lot here. Kind of lost my thought process there, which tends to happen if I get a bit emotional, I guess, but yeah, that's the gist of it, and I want to thank you all, long-time viewers, short-term viewers, really, for the support. Recently as well, we've had a surge of viewership from about 200 average up to 300, which is a lot, because the numbers on YouTube don't really represent the truth, I'd like to say, because you can say 200 or 300 is not a lot by YouTube standards, but let's imagine, for example, I play chess in an auditorium, a lecture hall, and 200 or 300 people sat there watching every single day throughout the entire game. Like that's a lot of people. It's it's really a lot if you put it into perspective. So thanks a lot to each and every one of you. So, well, for our upcoming stuff, I did mention it at the start of the video, but I'll be quickly mentioning it again. Tomorrow, we'll be going through stats throughout our journey. In 2 days' time, from this video being uploaded, I'll be sharing a recent tournament I played on chess.com, which was a daily tournament. In 3 days' time, we will be resuming our journey to 2000 ELO then, starting back from day 1. So if you haven't done so already, feel free to subscribe to get notifications, as the new videos will be dropping shortly. But well, that's it for today, and I want to thank our opponent. Let me just get my browser up here for myself. Moostits from Yemen. I can't switch back here, as you guys can see. Sometimes my OBS messes up. I think it's a memory issue, and the screen goes black. So I couldn't quite show you the name, but I just had to check for myself. yeah, thanks to our opponent for the game. Thank you for watching and staying with me throughout this journey. It's been a blast, and I hope you guys are willing to keep with me as we try and climb up from 1500 all the way up to 2000 even. We might even be falling down below 1500 at first, but our entire idea here is long-term improvement, and we are in fact going to have ups and downs. That's normal. Our ultimate journey or goal here is going to be to hit 2000. So well, I guess that's about it. Once again, thank you a whole lot for all of your support, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your days, guys. Bye bye.